good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to our weekly Winners Wednesday, where we interview top agents from all over the country to share their best practices every single week. And I am honored and blessed to have Miss Karina Albelais, all the way from Arizona, joining us this morning. Good morning, Karina.
Good morning.
Now, did I say your last name correctly? I
You
was
did.
trying to. I was trying to remember. My last name's Watt, so it doesn't get it any harder than that. But awesome. So as we were kind of talking off record a little bit, I've heard great things about you from Allie, also from Arizona. And she just said, listen, Karina's a rock star. She just got started, but she's killing it. And so, personally, besides just Winners Wednesday, I'm excited to kind of get to know you a little bit more and your journey into real estate. So, before we get into how you got into real estate, how did you get into real estate? What was your career prior to that?
So prior to real estate, I actually did healthcare for 8 years.
Wow.
I did that straight out of high school. I was 18. I became a CNA. And since high school, or since I was a kid, I wanted to be a nurse. So um, I, got into a program during high school and I got my CNA license. And the goal was to be an RN. Really wanted to work in the ED department, even during surgeries. And the
Wow.
more I worked in that field, I realized I didn't want to do it any longer. It was just mentally and physically draining. And so the more I did it, I was like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. And so I wanted to transition into doing something in the business field. So I was going to I started taking courses at the local community college here. And I took a few courses before I was going to transfer to the U of A to get my bachelor's in business admin.
Okay.
And then I started listening to Bigger Pockets, and I'm like, I think I want to be a real estate agent. It's a total 360. And that's how I kind of ended up into the path of real estate. I also purchased my first home in 2020, and my cousin helped me purchase my home. So it was kind of like it just happened that way, where when I was buying my house, I was like, hey, do you think I can learn from you to get into real estate? And he's like, yeah, of course, get your license. And it took me a few months because I was still in healthcare. So as I was in healthcare, I was taking my courses online to become a real estate agent. And so once I finished, I jumped on with him, and I was with him for 11 months. So I was with my cousin, learning the ropes. He's a broker here in town, and that's pretty much how I got my foot in the door.
That's awesome. No, I love to hear that. So you have family in the business. That's always helpful. So you mentioned Bigger Pockets. For those that aren't familiar with Bigger Pockets, obviously it's a podcast kind of geared toward real estate investing. How did you come across Bigger Pockets, not being in the industry?
Really, it was social media. Social media. I think it was Instagram and YouTube. I just started watching Bigger Pockets videos, and I honestly don't even remember how I started watching these videos, but um, I was like, I think I want to get into that space, not knowing a thing about it. And Diego Corzo, he stood out to me the most as a Latino. So I was like, wow, this is really neat. I could do something like that. And so the more I started listening to Bigger Pockets, the more I was excited. I was excited with the thought of getting into real estate, and so that's how I was able to, get my foot in the door with my cousin. I was like, "Hey, do you think I could do this? I think I'm interested in real estate." And he's like, "Yeah, let's do it. Get your license." So that's kind of how that started.
So how long ago was that?
That was 4 years ago because I bought my house during the pandemic, so I was already listening to that to Bigger Pockets in 2020. So I'd say 4 years ago.
Awesome. Well, great. And so you started out with your cousin, and then was that the transition into EXP, or did you go to another company before that?
No, that was the transition. So I was 11 months with him. And then from there, I already knew Allie because I stayed in her rental actually during the
Oh,
pandemic. I'm sure most places were like this. So a property would come up for sale, and you weren't there within 15 minutes to take a look at the property, it was already under contract. So it was madness looking for a home during COVID. And so we needed to be out of the place where we were at while we were purchasing our home. So I was like, I ran into Allie and rented her place in Tucson, and so I was there for, I think, 2 months, and that's how I met her. And we became friends. So after that, we followed each other on social media, and we just stayed in touch. And then turns out that she got her license the same time I did. So I think it was a month apart. I think she got hers in August. I got mine on 9/11, so I can't forget that.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, there you go.
so I took the test, passed, and then yeah, jumped on with my cousin. Was with him for 11 months, and then after that, I jumped into EXP with Allie because she was already with EXP, and she kept like she was hounding me, and I was like, well, not really hounding me, but she stayed top of mind. She stayed
Right.
top of mind, and I was like, I don't know, I don't think I'm really ready. I'm only 11 months in. I don't know too much about the business, let alone creating my business. So she's the one who really truly gave me that push to do what it is that I needed to do for me. So I thank her for that.
I love that. And like I said, I've heard nothing but great things about you from Allie. So that's awesome. So it sounds like you've been with EXP for about 3 years. Is that give or take?
It's about 2 years.
2 years. Okay, awesome. And so, how has your production been going so far? So you mentioned kind of getting in during the pandemic. Have you seen kind of that steady increase, or I know a lot of agents had an increase and then a little bit of a decline. So how's your business been going?
So lately it's been great. First year ever, or first 11 months with my cousin, I did six. I sold 6 homes in
Right.
11 months, which I thought was very little. And then my second year, so just last year, I closed 18 units, over like 5 million in volume, and then this year I'm on track to do the same. So um, I guess it's just gone up from here. It hasn't gone backwards, which is good.
That's well, and just so you know, even the 6 transactions, that's probably double the national average. So you're doing good. Give yourself some grace. That's awesome. So 5 million in your second year and third year. That's pretty incredible. So what would you say has obviously you've had the mentorship of your cousin and then in Allie, but what would you truly say has been the key to your success?
I think it's just really not giving up and just being persistent, and I think optimistic, because in this field it's just so easy to fall through the cracks. It's hard. It's definitely different than healthcare. It's like you're doing the business for you and for yourself. And I have only one person in my downline, but I'm not I I, I don't really want to have a huge team. That's not
Mhm.
really my goal. It's not my ultimate goal. Um, I want to be. I just want to be an agent. I want to sell homes, so that's what makes me excited. But being optimistic, I think, is really important, not just in business but in your life, because it's mindset is everything. So if you don't have a positive mindset, oh my goodness, especially in real estate, it's just easy to downward spiral. So I think just being optimistic, being positive, and um, I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be poor. It's getting hard. It's getting hard. At the economy and all that. So really, my success is just being better, being something.
Well, I love that you mentioned mindset because I always say, everybody wants to know the secret sauce to success. And I'm like, it's actually very simple. We make it complicated. And it does start with your mindset, right? It's your mindset is probably 80%. This, your psychology, your energy, and 20% is the actual how to and strategy. Um, and then, like you said, choose your hard. Being poor is hard and being rich is hard. So which hard would you prefer? And we were actually having that conversation, talking about healthcare with my son last night, who was in an accident last month
I'm
and
sure.
spent 15 days in the hospital. And we were like, listen, this is why we've worked so hard all these years, because God forbid an incident happen, that we don't have to worry about medical bills or have to worry about taking a couple weeks off of work, and just kind of having that conversation of choose your heart, right? So that was very much conversations we were having as a family. So, and back to healthcare, I don't know how you did it, because I don't deal well with blood or needles or anything hospital related. So I have a lot of appreciation for healthcare workers.
I loved it. I truly did. I miss it every now and then. But I wouldn't trade it for what I'm doing now. I wouldn't trade anything. And I think I carry that on, the mindset of being a caretaker or somebody who takes care of other people. I kind of carry that over with me now in real estate, because it's completely different. Because in healthcare, obviously you're physically and emotionally taking care of people, but now it's like I'm financially helping them, or I'm mentally helping them, and I love that I'm able to kind of uh, use that in what I'm doing now. Again, it's so different, but I guess the mindset stays there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I couldn't agree more. I've always said, police officers, healthcare workers, teachers make great real estate agents, because we are in the people business and you have to care. Otherwise, you're probably in the wrong industry, right? Uh,
Sure.
so that's interesting. So I mean, for somebody watching this and like, wow, I'm a couple years in the business and I'm not doing 18 transactions a year or 5 million in production. What is your what's your daily activities look like? What would you say is your number one prospecting tool?
So I use social media a lot initially. So when I was with my cousin for those 11 months, I was a newbie. So I did all the newbie stuff. And I did 50 cold calls a day, which
Wow.
to me was a lot. It at least took me minimum 3 hours to get through 50 cold calls. Because if I
Sure.
was on the phone with somebody with my fifth call for 20 minutes, it could drag on to 3, 4 hours to be on the phone. And I had to call 50 people. So did a lot of that, and I knew that I didn't want to continue to cold call. And I told Allie, I'm like, I don't have a huge book. I don't know who I'm going to call now that I'm transitioning to EXP. I don't know. I don't really have the database to cold call 50 people a day. That's insane. And she's like, well, use social media. And I was never really big on social media because I just kind of keep to myself with my personal life.
Mhm.
Um, and so I couldn't really see myself doing that. And she's like, you know what? She's like, you really got to get comfortable. You just have to get comfortable with the discomfort. And it was really hard to do that, but I had to. So that was really the only way, to get myself out there. So started doing a lot of social media. It's mainly Instagram, Facebook every now and then, and TikTok, but mainly Instagram. And so that's how a lot of people that I went to school with, or friends, family, that's how I stay connected. So the majority of I even run into people at the grocery stores. I go to Costco, go to Target, uh, out in the Tucson area, and they're like, "Hey, I watch your videos." So I started with videos, and that's what Allie suggested, and that's what I've been doing, and that's what's been helping. And then word of mouth. So people, or my friends and family, they refer me, and then I've got a lot of agent to agent referrals. So just being having good partnerships with my agent friends keeps my business running, because
Yeah.
ultimately it results with referrals.
Yeah, I love that you say that, because a lot of people look at other agents as competition. I'm like, no, no. I probably have just as many real estate agents on my social media accounts, if not more than my spheres. So I think that's important. That's awesome. So you do a lot of videos, a lot of Instagram. So do you find that your demographic, or your ideal client, that's the platform that they're on?
Yes. Hmm.
Yep. Perfect. And that's I say that because I get a lot of real estate agents. Well, what social, there's Facebook and there's YouTube and there's TikTok and Snapchat and all these. And I said, it really depends on you and who your audience is and who your ideal client is. And then more importantly, what platform are they on and what platform do you enjoy? Because you don't have to be an expert on all of them, right?
Right.
So I like that you mentioned that you focus on one primarily, which is Instagram. So you mentioned videos, but not really being comfortable with it. How did Allie get you to start doing videos, especially, maybe that was a little bit out of your comfort zone?
Uh, really, it was just her telling me like, hey, you have to do videos. That's what people want to see. They want to see your face. They want to see people they know. They want to see people they like and trust. So I just had to get out of my head and say, hey, you know what? If I am trying to target the people that I know, for example, from high school or friends or family, if I know them and I crank out these videos consistently, then they're going to start seeing me as the person in real estate, person who sells homes, person who knows what they're doing, and that's really. I just had to get over the mental block of not wanting to be on camera, and once I started putting myself on camera, I don't care now. Now I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to share a little bit more about my personal life. That way, people can connect more on a
Right.
personal level because even though they see you as the person who does real estate, they want to know a little bit more about you because we all at the end of the day want to connect. And so recently, just this week, I started posting like stories about my life because every now and then I do, but I want to get more consistent with that.
I love that. And like you said, people want to work with people we all know, like, know, and trust. And in order to do that, they need to see that you're a three-dimensional individual, not just the business side of you, that closed on this property or you just listed this property. People want to see more.
Mhm.
So I know I'll definitely be checking out your Instagram now. Uh, so what, out of curiosity, what attracted you to EXP, especially with you being at a brokerage where a family member was the broker owner, right? So what made you make that move over to EXP?
Allie, really, it was Allie. From when I met her, I was like fangirling because I'm like, this girl has her stuff together, and I really wanted to kind of just follow her footsteps. I'm like, she seems to be doing very well. She's kind of doing the things that I want to do in my future, and so I just, like I said, I kept up with her. We stayed in touch, and so once I was at the point where I wanted to make a switch, she reached out to me. So it's just perfect timing. And, we started talking more, went over to her house and we talked about numbers and just everything that EXP could offer. And, she's like, I've already done my homework. I know I've interviewed with a lot of different brokerages and just EXP made sense to me. So that to me was enough for me to believe that EXP was just the way to go. And it's funny because previously, previous to jumping to EXP, everyone's like, "Oh, EXP is to this, it's to that," and I was like, "Well, I'm not with them, so I can't really say that. I'm just hearing this personal opinion from you." And no, just hearing it from Allie, I was like, you know what? If she says EXP is the way to go, I'm pretty sure it is too. And I've already been with EXP 2 years, and I have nothing, absolutely nothing bad to say. So, anyone who wants to join EXP, I mean, really, it's not what you hear on social media platforms.
Yeah, and it's like any company, right? And I like that you said, if I haven't been there, I can't speak to it. But yet, people are always the first to speak to something that they haven't been a part of. So I really appreciate that you mentioned that. And I think, the partnerships and the agents and the collaboration and the support is something that we have that's very unique at EXP. So that's incredible. So now that you've been in it, what's your favorite thing besides, Allie and everything that she's done to help support you in your business? Is there one particular thing that you've enjoyed about EXP that kind of stands out?
I think also, like you just said, we have the ability to connect with other agents. I didn't have that before. It was a small brokerage. There was only five of us, and we were a local brokerage. I mean, he created this brokerage on his own, so
Right.
um, it wasn't like we had the connections. I didn't have a connection in Florida, in California, in Washington. I never had that. So now having that, and I could just go on Workplace and somebody's like, hey, I need somebody in Tucson. It's easy to connect with other agents. And even, well, I haven't gone, but this year I will be going to EXP Con. Allie's like, you have to go, you have to go. You meet so many other agents. And when I'm on Workplace, people are tagging her and they're like, oh, this is who you should use. And the same people pop up for different locations. So I know they're all connecting. that one agent is connecting you to like 5 different agents in different states. And I'm like, I would have never had that before, obviously, if it's a local brokerage. But I really like that. I think that's neat. Um, because really I want to be a referral based agent. And that's what I've been for the last year, 2 years. The majority, more than 50% of my business has been referrals. So I want to keep it that way even early on in the business.
That's incredible. I mean, to be primarily a referral based agent and so early in your career, that says a lot. So that's incredible. And hopefully, I see you at EXPCon. So, well, great. So let's talk about your future plans. I mean, it sounds like you're killing it. You're doing really good. You're on the right track. Where are we going to see Karina in the next 5 years? What's your plans?
I'd say in the next 5 years, really my goal is to get a few more rental properties. I only own one home right now, and the goal is to have at least 10 by the time I'm ready to retire. So I know I need to step it up and add some more under the belt. And so by the end of this year, if not early next year, we'll be purchasing our second home. So
Nice.
it has to be done. I'm like, if we have to have 10 by the time we're 50, we got to do it all now. Even with rates being high, um, that doesn't scare me. It has to be done because at the end of the day, we'll be able to cash in that equity when we're old and ready to retire. So really, that's the goal. The goal is to get more rental properties, and sell more homes and be a referral based agent because that's how I want to keep my business running.
Awesome. No, I love that. And that's one of the things I love about Allie and the group that we're all a part of with Shelby and Ruben and myself is all of us have investor backgrounds. So I feel like that's kind of the type of agent and entrepreneur that we tend to attract is somebody that understands numbers and kind of the bigger vision of creating a business and that long-term longevity and legacy. So if there's ever anything that I can do to help support you, definitely let us know.
Yeah, of course. And I think also too going to the Five Pillars retreat just last year in November was even like more confirmation that I'm in the right space because I hung out with, I think it was 25 other agents, and they all have the same mindset. I'm like, wow, the fact that I didn't know these are the kind of people I could surround myself with a year ago when I switched over to EXP. I thought that was super neat. People doing the same thing that I want to do on a much larger scale, but I know that at one point they obviously had to start from zero. So
Right.
being around these kind of people on not a regular basis, but I mean even through Zoom or whatever is super helpful. And so for anybody who wants to, be an investor or want to get into that space, this is a great space to start because mindset, like I said, is huge, and these guys are huge on mindset too. So if you're looking for to be surrounded by great people, Five Pillars is just amazing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And Five Pillars, just for those that don't know, are kind of the organization that Shelby has been leading along with Allie and Ruben. And I'm a part of that organization as well. So it's an incredible support group and collaboration. And we actually have a few things behind the scenes that we're working on that'll be rolling out soon. So
Yay.
awesome. Well, anything else that maybe we haven't covered that you would like to share?
No, I thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to jump on here today.
No, my pleasure. Like I said, I look forward to, I was looking forward to meeting you, and I appreciate you rescheduling this call with the family emergency that we had and being patient with us. And I can't wait to continue to see your success.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Karina. It's nice to see you.
Take care.
Bye.